What if that majestic castle floating over the ocean isn't a castle at all, just a trick cooked up by the atmosphere to mess with your brain? Yep, your eyes aren't broken, the Earth just gaslit you. Welcome to the strange and slightly petty world of Fata Morgana. This is no ordinary mirage. Forget the cartoon desert scenes where someone thinks they see a lemonade stand. A Fata Morgana is like nature's way of hiring a special effects team without paying them a dime. It happens when layers of air with different temperatures bend light into a distorted circus. Suddenly, a faraway ship stretches into a skyscraping tower, or an island floats on air like it missed the memo about gravity. And if you're standing there rubbing your eyes, muttering, "No way that's real," congratulations, you've just been owned by physics. And physics isn't even sorry. Physics doesn't do apologies. And the name? It comes from Morgan Le Fay, the enchantress of Arthurian legend. Because sailors thought these illusions were her spells, luring them to doom. Honestly, that's a bit dramatic. What's actually happening is sunlight being bent through a temperature inversion, where cold, dense air sits near the surface and warmer air hangs above it. Like stacking two invisible glass panes and forcing light to zigzag. The result? Objects get smeared, stacked, stretched, and flipped upside down all at once. Basically, reality gets drunk. And not the fun kind of drunk either, the kind where it insists it can drive, but you know it shouldn't. Imagine the atmosphere staggering home at 2 a.m. slurring, "No, trust me, that island was always floating." Ships at sea? Suddenly they look like they're levitating. Mountains? They rise higher, thinner, and twisted into alien skylines. Entire coastlines can appear as towering fortresses that don't exist. And the best part, these aren't just random ghostly shapes. Fata Morganas are complex. They're not a simple shimmer. They can stack multiple distorted images of the same object, one on top of the other, like a broken copy machine that keeps jamming. It's as if the horizon itself forgot how to load reality correctly, leaving you staring at a half-baked rendering glitch. Basically, the Earth's graphics card is overheating, and you're stuck watching the lag. In 1818, when explorers were looking for the Northwest Passage, some swore they saw gigantic landmasses ahead thanks to a Fata Morgana. Spoiler alert, it was just ice and light playing mind games. Nature has been trolling humans long before social media. At least when Twitter trolls you, you can mute them. When the Arctic atmosphere trolls you, you end up stranded in the ice wondering if your compass hates you. And when the compass is spinning and the horizon is lying, it's like being lost in a video game where the map keeps changing every 5 minutes. Here's the wild twist. Fata Morgana doesn't just show up in one place. It's spotted over the ocean, across frozen tundras, and even on hot asphalt roads where the water never actually exists. Ever seen a ship floating in midair in a photo and thought, "That's gotta be Photoshop"? Nope, sometimes it's just this phenomenon flexing. And just to be clear, no Adobe subscription is required. The atmosphere does this one free of charge. Though honestly, given how often it trolls us, you'd think it was running on a paid premium plan. And unlike those simple wavy heat mirages, Fata Morgana is layered, stacked, stretched, an optical hall of mirrors. Distant cliffs can become hovering skyscrapers, icebergs become ghost cities. A small boat suddenly looks like the Titanic's evil cousin. Pilots have reported them. Hikers have sworn they saw mountains that weren't really there. And sailors? Well, they just had trust issues with the ocean forever after, which, to be fair, is already an abusive relationship. The ocean promises adventure, then serves you storms, sinking ships, and floating lies in the sky. Honestly, toxic. The wildest part? A Fata Morgana can switch what you see within minutes. 1 second it's a towering ship floating like it's late to a Marvel premiere, the next it collapses back into a normal vessel. Blink, and reality resets. It's the kind of natural prank where the atmosphere basically says, "Gotcha." Imagine explaining that to your crew. "No, really, I swear the mountain was there 5 minutes ago." Yeah, good luck keeping morale high after that speech. Your sailors would look at you like, "Sure, Captain," and next you'll tell us the moon is made of cheese. And no, this isn't rare sci-fi nonsense, it happens more often than you think. If the temperature conditions line up just right, the sky becomes a projector and the horizon turns into a screen. And we're stuck in the audience, never quite sure if that ship is really there or if it's just the atmosphere showing off. Spoiler, the atmosphere always shows off. It's like that one friend who just can't resist turning every conversation into a performance. So next time someone swears they saw a flying boat or a castle in the sky, don't laugh too hard. They might have just stumbled into a Fata Morgana, one of Earth's most elegant, frustrating, and slightly smug illusions. Because let's be honest, it's a little smug, isn't it? It doesn't just fool you once, it fools you, then rearranges the illusion, then fools you again. That's dedication to the bit. Mother Nature is basically a stand-up comedian who doesn't know when to leave the stage. But here's where it gets juicier. Fata Morgana isn't a single flavor of illusion, it's a whole buffet. Sometimes the distortion stretches objects vertically until they look like skyscraping towers. Other times it flips them upside down, stacks multiple copies or smashes them together until ships look like floating alien fortresses. It's less mirage and more Photoshop filter gone rogue. And unlike Instagram filters, there's no option to turn it off when you get tired of it. #NoFilter suddenly feels less impressive when the entire horizon is doing it better. And it's fooled some of history's most important people. Old maps are full of fake islands that never existed. Friesland, Crockerland, New Siberia. Entire expeditions wasted years chasing them. Imagine mortgaging your house, buying ships, convincing sailors to risk their lives, all because the horizon was lying to you. Brutal. It's like getting catfished. But instead of heartbreak, you get frostbite. The ultimate Arctic scam. Take Crockerland. In 1906, explorer Robert Peary swore he saw it, a huge landmass northwest of Ellesmere Island. A decade later, a team of explorers marched through Arctic hell to find it. What they found instead? Thin air. Crockerland was just a Fata Morgana, a mirage so convincing it sent men to their frostbitten limits. That's not just an illusion, that's atmospheric comedy with a dark punchline. And the Arctic has no shortage of those. The only thing colder than the ice was the punchline itself. And then there's the legend of the Flying Dutchman. Sailors saw ghost ships hovering above the water, sometimes upside down, and figured, well, that's obviously a cursed vessel doomed to sail forever. Wrong, it was Fata Morgana. But hey, if you're a 17th century sailor with zero physics knowledge, ghost ship sounds way cooler than temperature inversion. I mean, which story would you rather tell in a tavern? The air was warm above the cold layers, so the light bent over the curvature of the earth. Or, I saw a ghost ship glowing on the horizon, cursed to sail forever. Exactly, one gets you free drinks, the other gets you ignored. Fast forward to today, and guess what? People are still fooled. In 2021, a ship appeared to float above the water near Cornwall, England. Photos went viral, aliens, holograms, government tests. People had theories. The truth? Physics. A simple Fata Morgana caught on camera. No little green men, just bending light and gullible humans. Honestly, the aliens probably looked at that news cycle and said, wow, humans are doing our job for us. The arrogance of this illusion is hilarious. Fata Morgana does not care if you're a Nobel Prize-winning scientist or just a random tourist with an iPhone. If the atmosphere wants to mess with you, you're going to see castles in the sky. Period. Your brain will be tricked, your logic will fail, and reality will laugh in your face. If reality had a TikTok account, this would be its pinned video, and it would go viral in under an hour. Here's how it works in a nutshell. Normally hot air rises, cold air sinks. But sometimes the atmosphere decides to rebel. Cold, dense air stays stuck near the ground or ocean while warm air sits smugly on top. When light travels through these layers, it bends toward the colder, denser air. The rays curve, and suddenly you're seeing an object way beyond the horizon. Not only that, it's stretched, flipped, and layered like someone photocopied reality, and then sat on the copier. Somewhere out there, Mother Nature is giggling, Ctrl+C, Ctrl+V. That's why the effect can look like stacked floating images. Ships aren't just hovering, they're duplicated, distorted, and piled up in ways your brain doesn't know how to process. It's a light show designed by physics with no audience approval needed. You didn't buy tickets, but here you are, front row, popcorn not included. If physics charged for admission, we'd all be broke. And the Arctic? Oh, the Arctic is basically Fata Morgana's playground. Explorers saw entire ice cities that didn't exist. Norwegian explorer Fridtjof Nansen once described what looked like a distant city skyline shimmering above the sea. Spoiler, no city, just physics flexing again. Imagine how crushing that is. Thinking you discovered civilization, then realizing it was just your eyeballs being roasted by the atmosphere. At that point you'd almost prefer the city was full of angry Vikings. At least, then you discovered something real. Even with GPS, satellites, and decades of science explaining this, people still get caught. Photos go viral, conspiracy theories spread, and comment sections fill up with proof of UFOs or secret floating military bases. Meanwhile, nature's sitting there smugly like, you're welcome, that'll be 500 years of confusion, no refunds. Honestly, if Earth had customer service, this would be their most complained about product. Hi, yes, I'd like a refund on the land I sailed 3 months toward that turned out not to exist. Denied. What makes this phenomenon especially sneaky is how fast it changes. The conditions are fragile. One moment the illusion is towering above the ocean and the next it collapses. Try convincing someone who missed it. No really, I swear the boat was flying. Congratulations, you now sound like a lunatic. This is how ghost stories are born. Someone misses the science lecture and runs with the spookier explanation. And let's be honest, ghost stories are way easier to remember than thermal inversion refracted curvature optics. And yes, Fata Morgana has been deadly serious in history. Sailors steering toward phantom land, expeditions ruined, people freezing, starving, or lost, all because the atmosphere decided to flex. It's a prank with a body count, a cosmic-level prankster pulling stunts that sometimes decide human fates. Nature isn't cruel, it's just got a dark sense of humor. It's like a trickster god nobody asked for, but everybody has to live with. But step back for a second, isn't it kind of amazing? Earth didn't need to do this. Light could have just behaved itself. Straight lines, no drama. But instead, the planet gave us illusions that look like floating ships and phantom castles. That's not boring physics, that's performance art. It's as though the universe got bored one afternoon and thought, let's confuse them for sport. And confuse us it did. Entire legends, myths, and discoveries all born from an atmospheric prank. And here's a bonus detail. Fata Morgana isn't limited to oceans or polar regions. You can sometimes spot them over deserts, flat plains, even highways. That shimmering lake on the asphalt? Sometimes it's just a basic inferior mirage. But every so often conditions align and you'll get the stacked, stretched out Fata Morgana version. Imagine pulling over on the highway and telling your passenger, look, an alien city in the distance? Yeah, good luck explaining that one. No officer, I wasn't speeding. I was trying to catch up with the floating skyscraper. And that's the kind of excuse that lands you straight in traffic court. So the next time someone says they saw something unbelievable on the horizon, maybe don't laugh too hard. They might have just stumbled into one of Earth's oldest, most elegant scams. A scam so persistent, it's still fooling people in the era of 4K cameras and Google Earth. Honestly, respect. Anyway, go on, hit that subscribe button. Don't let a Fata Morgana trick you into thinking it's already pressed. This is Earthniverse, slowly building a video nature encyclopedia. Stick around, subscribe, and let's explore together.